Go. Hi guys, I'm Karunya Rao and with me is Santosh Nair. We're here as promised to tell you all about the NSE ongoing saga. Lots has happened in the last couple of days, especially today. The big headline is that the current MD and CEO of NSE, Vikram Limai, he does not want to continue for a second term. It's a very rare occasion. Typically, these CXOs want to extend and extend and extend their terms. But with NSE, it's different. What really happened? What triggered this reluctance?
Well, it most likely could have to do with the fact that when Mr. Limai came on board, one of the key areas where he would have to show result was the listing of the exchange, which had been stuck for quite some time because of all the controversies over, because of the previous management, the co-location controversy and all that. And for whatever reason, that has not come through. But if you remove that purely in terms of performance, it's been fairly good. So NSE's revenues have almost trebled during the 5 years that Mr. Limai has been at the helm. Similarly, you see the profits too have almost trebled. So financially, the performance has been good, but I'm sure he would have been grappling with a lot of other issues as well. Most notably, he may not have been able to bring in the changes perhaps that he wanted to bring in. So many of the key officials who were accused in some form or the other in the co-location controversy, they are pretty much there. So that is being seen as a black mark. Questions are being raised about it, and it's been fairly an uphill
and the NSE
battle.
IPO, which is still impending, which is still not getting clearances to sort of go to the market, that is a big minus, if not a fail.
Yes, so clearly he would have given his best, but we don't know what exactly transpired. So that is something that he would have wanted to do better, but has been unable.
But
to do.
what kind of speculation is going on the street right now? Because I'm sure this has a lot to do with the recent arrest of Chitra Ramakrishna, then the ongoing co-location case as well, where the probes are on. So what's the chatter right now on the street?
So chatter is clearly that probably there could be some more errors. There's been speculation around that for quite some time now, and with the arrest of Chitra Ramakrishna, that's only strengthened further. We also heard reports about senior IT officials being called in for questioning, and all that has been going on for a while now. So there is speculation clearly that more heads could roll, not that exactly, but more people could find themselves behind bars in the coming days.
And Vikram Limai was the immediate successor of Chitra Ramakrishna, so he had to carry forward a lot of pluses and minuses that were already there in the system. So what were the key highlights, if you had to sort of outline?
The key highlight would be that at least you didn't have any more negative headlines while Mr. Limai was there. Of course, there was a lot of legacy issues which you would have tried to solve, but other than that, you didn't have any controversies, any fresh controversies which robbed NSE. Whatever you have been hearing, much of it has to do with what's happened in the past under his predecessor. The most key thing, if one were to look at it, which puts NSE on a firm footing for an IPO, is that financial performance has improved considerably. So when you look at the numbers, revenues going up from around 2,800 crores to close to about 8,000 crores, that definitely puts NSE on a very strong footing. If you look at the number of transactions that are happening in NSE shares in the unlisted market, there is very good demand from both high net worth individuals as well as from alternative investment funds. So these two things put together, NSE has done under Limai has done fairly well. So that is something probably he would be proud of.
And what's happening with the Chitra Ramakrishna CBI arrest? What's happening there? Any updates?
No, I mean that's what that we have heard last.
But how is it likely to play out? Not only the arrest, but the entire co-location case.
Now the key challenge for CBI here is to prove that those brokers accused of making money in this, they actually bribed NSE IT officials. That is something they will have to prove. Because if you look at the architecture which NSE had followed, now it's hard to prove that there was malified intent right from the start, because there are other global exchanges also which use that kind of architecture. So you can't just fault the architecture. If you go through the order, there are two key things. One is that the brokers knew which servers to log on to. Now, how did they consistently manage to get it? And when the NSE switched from the TCP/IP protocol to the multicast system, whereby all brokers could have access simultaneously. Even after that, a set of brokers who are alleged to have made profits, they could do so by consistently logging on to the backup server. So these are the two key things. So it's hard to quantify at this point how much money they would have actually made on this through this thing, which there are various estimates. But the key thing here is, whether they were able to influence any IT officials or anybody for that matter. That is the key thing that CBI will have to prove. So much depends.
So what we know is that yes, the backup server was being logged on to. A lot of money was made. NSE was not paid any premium. But who made this money and how did this breach happen is yet to be uncovered.
Yeah, so there are some names which have already been mentioned in the SEBI order. But how much they have made,
Is there a penalty or a punishment in place? Do we have a set process now to penalize if we ever catch hold of them?
So disgorgement is the most obvious one, plus the interest rate charged from the time those illegal gains.
So there are processes in place.
So if you look at the order on OPG securities, SEBI has penalized them 15 crores, which is the amount they have computed that OPG made through these by logging first onto this server. So there is some amount which they have been able to quantify. So they will have to do for each of the brokers.
Okay, well that looks like a behemoth task, but I think, do you think the process is now expedited and it will finally take some definitive shape?
It looks like it. I mean, the pace at which CBI is going, definitely it looks like you could see more people probably being arrested in the coming days. But most importantly, it will also send out a very strong signal that if you try to do these kind of things, very clearly there are penalties.
No getting away.
There's no getting away. At least till now, it was widely thought that you could get away with a lot of things, but with such high-profile arrests, very clearly, definitely, I'm not saying that it would completely eliminate any kind of mischief in the coming days, but people would certainly be
scared.
Much more scared and careful.
But what happens now? I mean, we know that the ad is in place for, the hunt is on for a new chief for NSE. So does this new person have their task cut out?
Definitely. One is to, first and foremost, would be taking the exchange public. There are many things going in favor of NSE at this point. It's the number one, clearly it's number one by miles. In equity derivatives, it almost has 100% market share. In cash, it's about 92%. It's improved its market share in the currency derivative segment also. So if you look at it in that sense, there is a lot going for whoever takes charge going forward. But the big challenge will be to, there's been a lot of reputation loss. That is something that they will have to, the new person will have to really work hard, change the perception.
And did Limma, sort of do was there any attempt to clean up the system?
So clean up the system, as I mentioned, the people who have been accused of irregularities or having been party to the gaming of the system which went on, those people are pretty much still well entrenched in the system. So clearly Vikram Limma was not able to do much about that. So the cleanup.
So hopefully the new person takes up the.
Will most likely have to do a cleanup if he has to change the perception about the exchange, because that's one point most market observers have raised, that you have people who've been accused of all kind of shenanigans and they're still pretty much sitting out.
Pretty much there, yeah. So clearly lots to do, and we'll see who this person will finally be, NSE's new CEO. But for now, what we understand is that Vikram Limma does not want to continue for a second term. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Santosh, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.